switch. I'ma be bitch. I'm the bad twitch. I'ma be rich. I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be bitch.
Happy day, vibe track. Breakfast, your favorite venue for entertainment. Stiggity, motivated with the vibes. Ew, better greater. I just have my medicine. I have it under my tongue. Excuse that. Yeah, with the vibes that are greater. So, this is the beginning of every stream. Fix the lights. We need to fix the top lights. So, today, my dress is casual.
Bitch, I'm the bad twitch. I'ma be rich. I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be bitch. I'm the bad twitch. I'ma be rich. I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be bitch. I'm the bad twitch. I'ma be rich. I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be bitch. I'm the bad twitch. I'ma be rich. I'll make the beat switch.
Very nice, very nice. So, I found my earrings. Now I have both earrings. Stickity. I've been really enjoying my episodes. Every day seems to be something new and exciting. Either that we're talking about, that we're reacting to. Every day is just something new and exciting. So that is Stiggity. For sure. Hey, Vibe Tribe. When the cities blow me kisses, oh, please. You gonna cry again? Thank God this isn't waterproof mascara. Most girls wear waterproof mascara, so their mascara stays on during the day. A little bit of mascara. Somebody had said yesterday in the chat, somebody had said terrifying. It's like, is it because I have mascara? I keep on thinking of whenever I started the stream with the vibes that are better. We have my stiggity panel of friends and things and stuff and such. So we have some bombasa. And then these are like cheese tamales with the bombasa sauce, and then we have some tomatoes. Stiggity. So yesterday yesterday I was mentioning the earring thing. I was like, maybe Santa came to me in my sleep and was like, I remember your thumbnail. I'm going to grant you a missing earring. And then I told the stream about it. And I was looking all over. I looked on the floor. I was looking in my bed, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, yeah, it must be a loss. And then after I was streaming with Snowflake, and that stream is kind of that stream I had rewatched it. It has me on fast forward. So maybe that is that's a sign to me that I should be more quick with my reactions, because Hoga Boga Doga do and things and stuff and such. We have not trolled in a while, and normally the people that we troll are watching the stream, and so they're getting different angles and versions of the stream. And I was thinking that you guys should lurk on Twitch, on my Inner Odyssey account, because I want to keep the content mysterious, And it seems the only way to keep content mysterious is to switch up how we publish the streams. Pretty much every day I should be writing a paper or exam. If you guys are the kind of people that enjoy reading the transcripts and watching the stream and reading the chat, then this is definitely the best stream for you. Somebody yesterday, they spammed terrifying in the chat, and I kind of feel, that's something maybe to feel good about, because, show me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. Well, we walk together, and, not Alpha is number one in the chat. So we walk together, and, we are all city people. And so, I was mentioning angles and things and stuff and such. So, to eliminate the unstiggity angles, and to create more mystery, we should, I should not save all my broadcasts, because the thing about this platform right here is, if I save a broadcast and then 1,000 people watch the broadcast, the view number doesn't go up. The view number stays the same, which is kind of weird. And I can feel myself pressing my freaking buttons. They say that in your sleep you eat, in your sleep you eat like something around 8 spiders or something like that. I'm thinking in my sleep, they're like, I'm gonna make some, I don't know. So there was one of my clips, and this is the thing. I'll fill your face, though. That's stiggity. I am tying tire. That I am flying high. That is. I feel it's a button dialogue, and it's not the best. And if it is the best, and I'm just denying that, that it's the best, that's because, we enjoy things that we like and that we would like for ourselves. The things that we don't enjoy and that we wouldn't want for ourselves, is supposed to be for everyone else. And for me to spectate and be like, I mean that before. So, whenever you, alright, think about your country. And think about yourself as representing your country. You have to think about, and your countries, you have to think about the small things. And because boundaries, you must respect boundaries. You respect my boundaries, and when you're not clear about what's okay and not okay, you ask. So you're willing to say no. And in this case, I'm willing to say no because, I have a specific set of boundaries. And I understand that sometimes people will just try to rattle you up because they want a certain reaction of you. So, it's similar to an artist, though in an unstated way. To enjoy their art. They enjoy their art whenever, they sell their art. So, their art is to be enjoyed by people that are not them. And to think about regional understandings and, comical understandings. The comical understandings would be the fact that, my strings aren't, there's only one other person that I know, and it's an Asian person. And they pull their strings all the time. I'm like, look, I understand you have your kinks and you have your ways of, reacting and things and stuff and such. There's something called boundaries. And if you can't respect boundaries, then how are you going to progress in life and in general whenever you always just have a chip on your shoulder? So I recognize whenever my buttons are being pushed, whenever, people are intervening, and it, why are you not utilizing the technology within the beauty industry? Or, in places that I could identify and we can talk about, rather than, because it's every other day. Somebody was saying, oh, something about an Adam's apple. I was like, no, I feel like there's a shocker. And you press a button and, my muscles tense, Any hoodles. When you realize that it seems almost scheduled, they think to get a rise out of me, you know, that's what it should be for the rest of the world, you know? Because it's boring to have the same discussions over and over again. And sometimes it's tough to catch underhanded jokes, you know, because you're supposed to utilize comparative speech. And comparatively, I understand where you're placing, you know, your augmentation of my reality. Well, what does augmentation mean? I know that's whenever you're taking away, you know, something that is maybe unhealthy. The action or process of making or becoming greater in size or amount. So within this dictionary definition, you know the whole blowing things. Oh, you're blowing things out of proportion. Certainly, because if you really think about it, there's so many different ways to be romanced. And, you know, to romance or to be romanced is different for each person. Some people think that a slap in the face is romantic. I just don't understand how that's romantic. You know. There's this one time, or, you know, sometimes you just have to please, you know, less is more. Please the lesser so you can play with the more. And for people that are short-tempered by nature, you know, you'd realize that freaking fruit bite. Oh my gosh. What's that? Oh, that was the wind. Wind. Any hoodles. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, short-tempered. You know, people that are short-tempered the best way to communicate with them is not with a fuse. You know, the best way to communicate with them would be just for you. So just for you would mean that whatever you're recognizing within qualms, you would be creating that for someone else. You know, you would be creating that for people that I could observe, that we could observe, you know? Because if I'm observing it with it, you know, for myself, it completely negates the romantic process and the friendly process. Sometimes friendly things are romantic in nature. Sometimes romantic things are friendly by nature. And it's fun whenever you can be the biggest memer, you know? It's fun when you don't have to, you know, comparatively, you're not comparing me to a traveler. You're not comparing me to somebody that makes comedic content that just so happens to be a female. So what if they have a double chin? What the fuck does that have to do with me? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing somehow has more movement than, you know, what you see as movement, I see as stagnation. You know, it's amazing that how much y'all love my voice. The sound of my voice and the feeling that you have in the chat whenever I text. Or message. If you're not memeing on, you know, everyone except the memer, because view the memer as a messenger. You know, don't shoot the messenger. That's what they say. I was 18 whenever I first lived by myself. My house used to be a freaking party house. And the first few months that we lived there, I was the breadwinner. And to be the breadwinner, you know, and then my boyfriend at the time didn't have a job. Like I said, my boyfriend at the time didn't have a job. So I was the breadwinner. And I had let my roommate live there for, way cheaper than should have been, what rent should have been, because how much I charged them was barely the electric bill, so I was paying off my car insurance, and, just so many things. Whenever I would come home, and I would just ask him one thing: take the trash out. And I would come home, and the bags of trash were still sitting by the door. I'd be like, what the heck? I just asked you to take the trash out. I just worked a double shift, and, the least that you could do is take out the trash for me. And, and we would argue about it, because, and the argument would be null and void, because I was the breadwinner, I was the one that was paying all the bills, and I was the one that was keeping food on the table. So, it was a few months later, and finally, probably after 6 months, he had got a job at Bojangles. And he would give me his check, and then we would split it. I would have, I would have a majority, he would have, and I would pretty much give him allowance from his own check. And that's whenever things were starting to be better, because he wasn't materialistic or anything like that. He just wasn't good with money. So, and I was much better with money than him. And I was younger than him. So, I had, to be the mama of the house, pretty much. House was, my apartment was pretty much a party apartment, and so I had to, have it safe, I'd have to keep my money in a safe, I would have to, set boundaries, so if any boundaries were crossed, then we would have a whole intervention about it. I've been looking into, there's homeopathic remedies, and, there are just general remedies. Mama. You guys can buy my merch from the link on my Twitch. I have some merch. I need to start wearing my merch. I need to really start wearing my merch. So yeah, I was the sugar mama. I was mentioning in one of my most recent broadcasts that, it would be really good to, if the Israelis actually, fed the people without, bombing them. Because, it's like, how much more, resentment do you have to get out, whenever you've already destroyed people's homes, you've already, disseminated them from where they were, to kill innocent people, I don't think is badass. I think that is sad. I think that's, a sad moral, because how are you going to, bomb innocent people while you're gonna feed them and you're gonna bomb them and shoot them and stuff? That's unstiggity. And, it's stiggity to bring them food and, and help, but don't be, that's letting your left hand know what your right hand's doing, and, not allowing yourself to give without expectations, because that's being the hero, and the hero the hero is wanting, it's being the hero and the villain and the victim, because it's not being the true hero. The true hero would do what is right without the need for a thank you, without the need for, to be plastered on the news. Sometimes people don't feel as though they have enough time on the news, so they do horrific shit to try to, or they do horrific, stuff and such to get a like on the news or something. And that's kind of what I was mentioning and what I was talking about earlier, because to be stiggity, to be not wanting to have a ceasefire agreement, all right, that's fine. Whenever you're just at war with all your neighbors, and you realize that all of your surrounding brothers are not really, picking up what you're putting down, and you realize that you kind of singled yourself out, I am not speaking bad against a nationality. I'm not speaking bad against a religion. I'm speaking my honest opinion on how I think that things should be. And the thing is, there hasn't been much coverage on the news of the Middle East. So it does. It creates a new mindset for people on the left to be more leftist, and for the people on the right to be also more leftist, because adopting certain strategies, adopting certain ways of government, and adopting certain ways of reaching out, not calling your lover dude, and not calling your lover a brother, because once you call your lover a brother or dude, then you kind of just friend zoned yourself, in certain ways. And I'm here to suggest, that, some real reconnaissance, rather than, just utilizing your forces for innocent people, If you're going to utilize your forces towards innocent people, it should be, it should be quite certain, And I understand that, I think America's stance on it should be that we sell them, the tools that they need and the tools that they want on both sides. So we could just sit back and, watch them blow each other up, until they come to some sort of, I'm not sure if they, will ever come to some sort of agreement. Though you have to recognize some people on the right think completely different than some people on the left, and vice versa.